So this is West London VR Racing's second team on 29th of June 2022, riding in James Ogilvy's OTR series, the Love TTT. So this is our second team doing a TTT. The first team is simultaneously doing one, so we haven't got dual recording, I'm afraid, but this is just a little insight into what happens. Now you see, getting off that start, everybody accelerating off the start slightly different times, so you need to regroup. We just got three went off ahead of the other two. Dave Morrison just caught up. We're just waiting for Samir to get on the back, and here he comes, and that takes us into the five. So first session now. Second team tend to play it fairly loosely. Anybody who's ready to go on the front goes on the front, and if you're on the front and you want to come off, you shout and somebody else volunteers. So there's no strict order in this, so don't expect it to be too slick in that respect. So going a bit further on, you can see it's not quite a straight line here, but that is sort of a little bit of the should we say the unregimented approach to the way we do this. The second team, of course, basically the reason for running the second team, as we move forward and see Bhavesh Mystery on the front on this occasion. Everybody taking little turns in these early stages in the first half of the race. But as I say, the second team is really there to give everybody a ride when we've got a full quota in the first team. And of course, if the first team's a little bit short, people can step up and take places. So without sort of belittling it as a reserve team, it really is an opportunity for everybody to do a bit of training, practice, and for newcomers to come in. It doesn't mean we have a different team every time, so it sort of sometimes can be a bit ragged because we don't all know each other, but as the weeks go by, we're getting to know each other. New rider tonight, Frankie from Italy, down there in Naples, as we see two Italians in the team. We've got Frankie and Nicolo, both actually the stars of the team tonight, alongside Bhavesh Mystery, as we shall see. Now, we'll pick up the commentary later on. You can see everybody taking turns on the front here. Frankie at the moment, but this does change from time to time, and everybody giving a little go. 4.3 kilometres into this 22 kilometre time trial at the moment. Fairly flat, you can see from the bottom of your screen there. The green is the profile of the course, and it's fairly flat. So the target for the team was to try and maintain 40 kph, and you can see it's just over that now. With 5 riders taking turns, that's quite achievable for the second team. Obviously the second team not always as fast as our stars of the first team, but that's not the point. Everybody here is training to be ready to step up to the first team when needed. So still in the first half of this race, everybody taking turns. Now this is one of the dilemmas. At this point, unfortunately, the table on which the laptop was on got banged, and everything sort of dropped on the floor for Dave at this moment. He took his eye off the proceedings and had to fight to catch up. Now the thing about catching up like this is it's worse than a turn on the front, because you actually have to ride faster than the guy on the front to catch up, and it's a solo effort. And although you get the respite and the benefit of the draft when you get back on, that exertion has really burnt a match. So it's not a good idea to get dropped, because the catch-up will cost you more than the benefit of the draft if you're not careful and you do it too often. Straight after this, Dave did a turn on the front, which is probably not the best idea, and his turn after that catch-up only hitting 38-39 kph, short of the 40, and we see Frankie taking over now to push it up to 41, which is what needed. Dave just suffering from that catch-up. So past the halfway stage, we've got all 5 riders together. Now this competition is based on the first 3 riders getting over the line, and what happens, Dave has another little mishap with the domestic arrangements, and everything's sliding on the floor, and once again takes his eye off proceedings, soft pedals a little bit because he's not following the wheel, and is dropped. If you get over 20 metres behind and you're struggling to catch up, the big decision is, do the others wait for you, or do you drop off? Now everybody is communicating via Discord, and at this point Dave said, don't wait, go ahead, I'm too far behind to catch up now, and if you slow up you'll lose time, particularly on a flat course. I mean, you know, sometimes where you've got a hill coming up, there's an opportunity for people to regroup, but this was flat, and the decision was made that the other 4 would go on without Dave. 9 kilometres to go, so just under half the race with only 4 riders, but in some respects we hadn't necessarily expected to have as many as 5 riders tonight, so we're in a better position than we thought, and you can see just there it gets a little bit there's one of those little gaps where everybody's going to catch up. Now if the rider on the front goes ahead too much, the rider at the front should slow down a little bit, and the other three should stay together just to make the catch up, which they've done. Nice tight line here. As you can see, this is good riding, one after the other, and if you can keep a steady pace here at 39.4, so just under the target speed, a very, very slight gradient, so slightly forgivable, but a tight line and good riding. 4 riders here, a little bit of a gap, and you see Samir just pushing to close that gap and recreate the line, and that's done very neatly by Samir with Bhavesh on the back. So that's a nice little bit of team riding between the two of them there. The gap opening up a little bit as Bhavesh pushes through to close that gap. 17 kilometres done, 5 to go, and it's getting a little bit ragged at the back there, and you sense that the 2 Italian riders are the stronger 2, but we need 3 over the line, so they've got to take at least one of these riders with them, and you can see the gap starts emerging there. Samir just falling off the back like Dave did earlier, and there's a point at which you just have to communicate to the rest of the team that they need to go on without you, and I think this is what Samir does then. He's over the 20 metres behind, and the decision gets made. So there's 3 riders now, and we've probably got the 2 Italians, the strength of the team here, and it's their job to get Bhavesh over the line, and Bhavesh is going to have to grit his teeth and stay with the 2 Italian stars at the front now. So difficult for Bhavesh, a bit of team riding needed from the Italians to support him, but it's going to be hardest for Bhavesh here because he needs to ensure that he doesn't get dropped by these other 2 slightly stronger riders, and I don't think you'll mind me saying that. I think we all understand that there is a kind of pecking order in these things. And of course, the joy of team time trialling, as anyone who does these races will tell you, is that it is this so much of this team effort, and we're all talking to each other over Discord, and there's a little bit of Italian translation going on in places between the 2 Italians, but nevertheless it all worked, and it all worked well, and you see them looking after Bhavesh absolutely superbly here. So as I say, we have Nicolo from northwest Italy up near Lake Como, Frankie from down in Naples in southern Italy, and Bhavesh from West London now. 3 team riders. Now 4 kilometres to go. Bhavesh is beginning to feel it by now. He knows that everybody's relying on him to stay with these guys. They know that he's relying on them to make sure that he can get over, and it gets very, very tense. And over Discord, the encouragement from Samir and Dave is pouring out as they commentate and count down and tell Bhavesh how well he's done, and thanking the Italians for looking after him. 3 riders together, you can see they're working here. It's down at 37 kph, slight uphill gradient, 0.7%, so it's not a hard uphill gradient, but it's not as flat as it was, and they're just falling short of that 40 kph target. But of course, at this point the team has to work together to get the slowest rider over the line, and they are doing superbly in terms of teamwork, and every man is looking after the team. This is one for all rather than all for one at this stage. I suppose if it is all for one, it's for the 3rd rider, not the lead rider. Bhavesh just struggling to get on, keep on there, but he's getting the encouragement over Discord from his other team members. He's absolutely gritting his teeth. 38.9, so not far short of the target speed as they close down to 3 kilometres to go. Every pedal stroke hurting now as they give it their all in this last 3 kilometres. And the big question is if you go over the painted names in the road, and you see Bhavesh's name there, Bhavesh Mystery. It means carpenter mystery. It's a rough interpretation. Rather unexpectedly taking a turn on the front, and I think that was overdoing the catch-up. But nevertheless, he's absolutely being a warrior now, sitting on the wheels of the 2 Italians as they push it out. They're slightly slowing down for him. They're down to 37, 38 kph. Again, slight uphill gradient, so it's not the fact that it's slightly short of that target. It's not really that short of the target when you take into account the gradient. And at the beginning, the discussion was 35 minutes is what we might do it in, and you're looking now at 2.5 kilometres to go, 2.6 kilometres to go, and 30 minutes on the clock. So they've got 2.5 kilometres to do in under 5 minutes if they're going to hit the target or beat the target. I'm sure the first team and some of the teams further up the league will be aiming at far faster times than this. But this is our expectations from, as I say, our second team who are riding this. Now Bavish is absolutely gritting his teeth by now, but he can see that there's only 2.3 kilometres to go, and he must sense that home is not far away, and whilst it might hurt, it needs to be done for the team. And boy, did he put in a warrior's performance for us at this stage. 2.2, we were counting every 2.1, we were counting down every 100 metres, and those of us sort of not in this front group taking it slightly easier because we're out of the race now, and you can see the gaps back to Samir and Dave in 4th and 5th place now, quite wide as they just kind of spectate the situation ahead of them. Bavish just sitting off the back, the Italians just pushing a little bit harder than Bavish would like, but he grits his teeth and gets on the back up to 39 kph. This is good, it's not far off the target. Now if you look at the bottom of your screen, the big white blob on the profile is where they are, and the two blobs behind, one is Samir and one is Dave. Now you can see that it is gently rising. You can see, alright, it's only plus 0.2, 0.1 at the moment gradient, but it is generally uphill towards the finish, and you've got quite a few kilometres in your legs by now. There's only 1.5 to go now, so they're into that, they're just coming up to Flamme Rouge, and after that they're going to have to give it all they can. But the problem with giving it all you can is it can get a bit ragged, because not everybody's got quite as much in the tank as the guy on the front, and the guy on the front is no use to anybody whizzing off too fast, because the guy on the front should be really helping the slowest rider over the line. 1.3 kilometres to go. The two Italians just really encouraging Bavish, as are all the teammates over Discord. Frankie, they're just pushing off the front a little bit, and not a bad line. I mean, the gap's a little bit bigger than you might want, but nevertheless it's a nice line and the gaps aren't massive. People will be saving watts and that as we basically hit the Flamme Rouge. 1 kilometre to go, and they are hammering it now. I say they're hammering it. They've got a slight gradient. It's only 30. Well, they're back up to 40 now. You can see the acceleration now as they push with 800 odd kilometres. So 800 metres, just over 800 metres to go. Only on around about 40, but there's pain in the legs by now. Frankie pushing on the front, carrying the others with him. 41-42, slight acceleration with 700 metres to go. Can Bavish hang on? Can they get the time? 33:20 on the clock with 600 metres to go. They're going to finish under 35, which is great. They're going to beat the target, and Bavish doing absolutely superbly, pushing everything into it to stay with the two Italians. It's great riding from Nicola and Frankie. Bavish just drifting off the back a little bit. The Italians know it though. They're going to get him over the line. They're going to slow up to make sure he catches them. He's going to grit his teeth and push to catch them. Between the lot of them, they will reunite. There is a little bit of gap, but there he is. Bavish is back on. This is team riding at its best. As we come down to the last 270 metres, they've got to push, but they mustn't let the third rider drift off the back. It's delicate. How do you do this? You communicate over Discord, but at the same time you're putting everything into it, and of course there's not a lot in the lungs to talk. Bavish just absolutely pushing it. 43 kph, 45 as they go towards the line. The little gap now doesn't particularly matter. It's about Bavish's time over the line, and at about 34 I think that is going to be very satisfying for a team that ended up with 3 riders and not 5, which it started with, and as I say, I think they've beaten the target, so absolutely fantastic riding from a lot of them. Well done second team, and I think the next thing they'll all do is go onto the WhatsApp group and see how the first team got on. Let's look at the results online when they come out.